Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Mar-Tel.
Hey, everybody.
So this will be a continuation of my last podcast episode. Isabel, why don't you take it away?
Okay, so I have a few notes and like points that you made in the last episode that I thought were really cool and meaningful and powerful. So the first one is you saying like sticking to something and like from what you've learned from talking to people who have had experience in life is just stick to something. If you feel passionate about it, then nothing else really matters.
Don't let the man get you down.
Right. Stick it to the man.
Yep, in the words of School of Rock. Stick it to the man, Neosis.
Another one that I thought of was having a community around you and getting support from people that you wouldn't expect it and vice versa. People that you would expect it and it's not as powerful as you would have imagined. I thought that was a really interesting point.
Like the support, like you thought you'd get support from these certain people.
Right.
And it's shocking to see.
About anything.
Yeah, when it doesn't happen.
Yeah. And I think that was a super interesting point that is real.
And a lot of people go through it.
And yeah, absolutely. Another point that you made that I really liked was you saying somebody that you love or yourself want to chase a dream or go after something or is interested in something. And the first thing that the other person in this situation is the first thing that they do is to not encourage them.
Yeah, to install fear.
And so and you said something that I really liked. You said we're conditioned to install fear and we're conditioned to fear and to be around that. And I thought that was crazy because I feel like that is so true. And why is that? Why is it a projection? Is it, oh, I would never do that, so why should you? I wish that I had the courage to do something like that. Like, why do people go that route?
One of the first things is when I say I got that, condition to install fear, I got that from You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero, which I mentioned in the last one. Well, what I've realized is we install fear in people's lives. There's many reasons, like you said. Some of it is out of love. If it's something that really could take a serious financial hit to you, it could be dangerous in some way.
Or it's just smart.
Or it's like, but it could be something that's like, you are chasing your dream and I'm
passionate about this.
I'm giving up my business and I'm going to LA to be an actor or actress. The immediate thing that people go to is, hold up, what are you doing? Think about this. You need to do A, B, and C. You can't just run off and do that. Like, because it is to show that we care because we don't want this person to fail. But the thing is, what I've realized is putting that out in the universe, even having that fear manifests itself. If this person has put a lot of time and thought into it, because a lot of times they have before you even think so. Coming back to the podcast, a lot of people thought I probably just threw this out there and just started a podcast. No, I've been thinking about this. I've said 6 months and stuff, but no, I've been thinking about this since I was really little. And also I've been working on this specific podcast for over 6 months. So
well,
it's
that was in the next point.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So it's like this fear that you're putting on this person probably didn't just drop all their stuff and is running off to join the circus. They've probably thought through A, B, and C before they did it. So why put this fear in just
negative energy? Yeah.
Those second thoughts and like that hesitation into their brain when that really could be the whole thing that does set them back? Like, it isn't your life. It is their life. And you need to be there. And guess what? If they do crash and burn for whatever reason,
they're supposed
God
to.
Help them. I hope you don't. But I'm saying you will be there for them no matter what.
And if that happens in real time, then you grow from this. It was supposed to happen and that closed door is going to lead to another open door.
Yeah, like they needed to have that for a reason. But you think about it, they could succeed either way, they could fail either way. But it's like, why even put that fear into their brain to think about at all, because they're probably going to do it anyway.
A lot of the times why someone does that is because of internal insecurities, perhaps.
That is some of the reason.
Or
it can be out of love and it can be out of insecurity.
There's a huge difference. If
you can tell.
You can tell when somebody has negativity towards something like that. You can tell when it's a genuine and authentic reaction, or you can tell when it's like intentional.
Yeah.
When someone doesn't want to see you succeed.
Yeah, you could tell the main difference in depending on how they deliver what they're saying and what they are saying. There are underlying people. It sometimes can be your own friends as well who like their safe place and they like you in it and they don't want you going anywhere and they don't want you to succeed more than they do.
That's a good point.
It really is. That is a thing.
No,
and
yeah.
so it could be hidden in people that are closest to you. Absolutely not all your friends are like this. Don't let me put that fear into your head. You'll know. I mean,
right.
There will be signs that they don't want what's best for you before.
Well, this is just a conversation of experience.
Yeah. Yes. And it's like, you can tell.
That we've seen or been through.
Yes. And like, you could tell the difference between if your parents or sister or really close friends are coming to you with a fear of, hey, like, I just want you to be safe. I hope you thought this through. Like, just tell me all this. I'm going to be here for you anyway.
I support you.
That still, they're kind of fearful, but you can see that it's out of love. Mm-hmm. The other thing is have you really thought about this?
Why would you do that?
You're gonna, this, and this is going to happen, and this, and this is going to happen, and you're going to end up having to do this, and it's going to mess everything up for you. That, there's a clear difference. So
you mentioned the book. That was my fourth point that I took. You said this book, it's awesome, seriously, and let me give you an example. I hadn't started this podcast when I started this book, and I got a quarter of the way through it, and that's how good this book is, because I started reading it and I was like, okay.
Yeah, shout out to you, Jenny Sincero. You rock.
And
you are a badass.
Yeah. So I have a cool point about that. Dad got that book for me when I was going through a hard time, and it sat on my bedside table for years. All of a sudden gravitated towards this book that wasn't meant for you, wasn't given to you. It came out of nowhere. And
let me tell you, it was meant for me.
And you have been, I think it obviously made a difference.
Yes. And let me tell you something about that. For one, Dad has told me he got that book for you, but he did tell me to read it. And you get books from your parents or from your grandparents. You're like, oh yeah, no, I'll read it. I'll take a look. It sits and collects dust. But my number one thing I always say is I love to call myself a badass. Like that is, I think that is the highest compliment anytime somebody tells me that, I take it like that is just the best thing. I play the drums. I obviously have some sort of thing going, rock star badass thing that I'm trying to do and hopefully succeeding. But what I want to say is I was going through, I'm not going to lie, a very hard time before I found this book. I was going through into the new year, kind of in the fall, like starting fall area. I was having just some mental stuff I'm not going to bore anybody with, but I was just having a hard time. I decided, it was weird. That day, I started writing in my notes how I was going to help myself. I'm not going to sit in this self-pity anymore, and I'm going to do something. I'm going to get up and do something about it. But I didn't want to just write in my notes. I wanted a notebook. So I went in my sister and my childhood room, and I went in our bedside table just looking for a notebook to scribble my thoughts and try to help myself in some way, journal. And I find that book. And I just decided, I was like, you know what, actually better than this, because I've never been much of a journaler. Every time I was trying to start that, it just doesn't, But
right, yeah.
I saw that and I was like, you know what, this is more my speed. The title is You Are a Badass. So I opened it, I started reading, and I just didn't stop reading. And you know what, I had been thinking about this podcast, and I put all the BS aside, and I was like, it's time for action.
Good Scooby-Doo quote.
Yeah.
Piggybacking off of that, when people talk about doing something for so long, and I'm a victim. I've done this. When you talk about something for so long, you complain about something for so long, shut up and just do it. Stop. Going back to the fear thing. Like,
that fear.
No one is actually stopping you.
Her whole chapter on fear was so enlightening because everything, like she talked about, she went on this hiking trip with her friend and they had to go in this cave and like being like claustrophobic type. And she was in the middle of the cave. It was dark. You couldn't see anything. Her friend was like, hey, turn off the lights. This is the cool part. They're in like, you can't see the exit. It is like, you have to crouch over when you're sitting down. In her head, she was like, I could do two things right now. She's like, I could so easily freak out and have a full on panic attack. And she was like, or I can choose to push that fear aside and just enjoy myself and try to see what's good about this. Yeah. And guess what? She got out of that alive. Okay, so I actually have, kind of going off of, since we're talking about books that are inspirational. First, what is the last book that you read?
Last book that I read it's called The Lost Gospel.
Interesting.
It was very interesting.
Ones that are like not written.
Yes. So it reveals the unknown aspects of Jesus's life and what no one talks about and what no one knows.
Oh, like
in the Western religion that we're surrounded with,
like him having a girlfriend?
Yes, Mary Magdalene.
Yes.
And their son, Judah.
Oh, I tried to bring up Mary Magdalene in my religion class in high school. Bad idea at a Catholic school. Don't do that.
So this book, this idea, is not mainstream Christianity, not mainstream, Western religions and cultures that we're surrounded by in Southwest Louisiana in the United States. The authors argue that the early church leaders, like, they took this information because of the power that the church had in history. So like money and authority and fear and instilling fear in people. That's the only way you can control them. And so religion was kind of the government. It wasn't like it is now.
Interesting.
And so it dives into Jesus and his teachings and separates the religion aspect, the church aspect, and it explains how that's not what he ever wanted. And he was here to teach and be a philosopher, and he did have a girlfriend, and he did travel, and he traveled in Africa and in India. And it's so interesting to me because I've never
resonated with
religion.
Like not that you're not religious with or have a relationship with God.
Right. Because there's a huge difference.
Right.
But there's not, because of where we've grown up and who we've grown up around and like
the schools we went to.
I respect that, but it's never resonated with me. And
yes,
so I want to do my own research and not believe a theory or something or an idea just because that's what I've been told for my whole life.
Right.
That's not what is for me.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, in my brain, it makes more sense. And so like to go on to that, it's not just an idea. There's like the same that like the Catholic Church might say there are relics. There's their Bible, the Word of God. And like in a different light, Mary Magdalene had Gospels. And so she wrote about so her past was like she was a whore and Jesus accepted her into his life.
She was a prostitute? Huh?
She was a prostitute. I read a part of her gospel, and Simon Peter said that Mary should not be a part of our disciples because men are the only worthy to follow Christ. And it was just like excerpts like that. It's just so interesting I don't take everything. I take it with the grain of salt.
Right.
But I think there's a lot of truth to that.
That sounds like a good read.
Definitely is.
What are you reading? Are you reading anything now?
Yes. It's a book called Ikigai, Ikigai. And it's the Japanese secret to a happy and long life. They study a Japanese community. They take stories and they take examples of these people, and it's really, in a lack of better terms, it's living a simple life. So eating healthy and giving gratitude every day and staying active. So like exercising your body. And if you do that, you'll live for a very long time, like over a century. And so and these people, the Japanese culture, they do live a long and happy life. So basically what Ikigai, it's 4 things. It's what you love, what you can be paid for, not in money, what your purpose is, and what the world needs. So how can you use this? And it encourages the reader to find that. It takes you out of that, like, of the distractions of, everyday life.
Okay. And my last question for you is, what book have you read that really had the most impact on you?
Definitely A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara.
You've told me a lot about it.
It's a fiction story, and it follows 4 boys in college. They're roommates, and Willem, Jude, JB, and Malcolm. Through this book, you follow them and you follow their entire life until their 50s. It's set in New York on Lisbonard Street, and it's on this they live in this tiny little apartment, and you are with them as they grow up.
You feel like you watch it. I mean,
yes, and it feels like they're a part of your family. And each chapter is from the point of view of a different character, but you become so close with these characters that you know who she's talking about and you know whose perspective it is because you know them. It is so heartbreaking, and it is a sad book. But from what I've gained from this book is like the importance of hardship and the power of love.
Well, I'm glad we got to got to go a little bit more in depth about what I was talking about on the previous podcast. And I like to have my sister's input on it as well and have a discussion about it. And I knew that Isabel would have some very good points to bring in.
When I'm listening to someone that I know or that I don't know or that I love, or, could be anybody, when I'm listening to them talk about, I went through being completely
vulnerable.
Well,
I think that is it for today. Thank you for coming back. If you did, make sure to still give us a rate. Look at our YouTube, Mar-Tel All. It's good. You can see all the videos in full glorious HD.
If you made it here, thank you.
Yes. Well, we'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Bye.